Alright guys, here's a breakdown of my last match of 2020. It's a local match. It's actually a really good one. The stages were really well designed, and I changed my perspective. I went into this was to treat it like a level 2. My work schedule has changed, so I'm not going to be able to shoot these every month anymore for a little while. And the stages were really good, and I really wanted this win. So I just put a little more emphasis on how my mindset towards it. So as you see, this stage here had the big thing was the Polish plate rack. As you see there, half of it's covered with hard cover like a steel plate. So here's a slow-mo breakdown. I'll start with the beginning and it'll get ahead of me, but it's a barrel start. The gun is unloaded and you draw from and you load it from the belt. I made sure to grab off a barrel if it's an unloaded start or if I have time. So from here I moved to this position that I'm shooting. I grabbed with my thumb above the beaver tail, the back of the pistol, to make sure that I got the gun and I had time to move it below that. I mean, you don't... Unless you've tried it, I knew that's where I was going to grab to make sure that I had a good grip of it. And then I had time to move it into a proper grip with my dominant hand while loading it. And it worked out really successfully. I practiced it a couple times once after the make ready. And then, of course, breaking down the stage, I did my reload a little bit early because I knew I was going to have enough to complete. I was confident that I would complete it without too many makeup shots on this Polish, even though because of the hardcover, it forces a weight to drop off and for it to spin. There's some no shoots here. I broke it up into 3 positions essentially. The first position that you go into, I shoot the 3 targets that you see right here now, and then straight into the port for a long popper that I could take, and then the other 2 poppers and a paper. I can't remember the exact array, but I positioned myself so where I could, nice wide stance here, so I could go from that position to that one. And I took everything I could see from there. A little fumble on the mag change, but not a big deal. Finish up what I had there to move into my last little quick step into the last position to shoot those 2 and the Polish. So my first stage, a little cold, but executed fairly well. That was probably my choppiest. This one was a really fun one. Most everybody I saw did it clockwise. I ran it counterclockwise, starting with that far target that you could get from my second position, but I chose to draw to it, and I'll explain why. These poppers at the end were pretty cool because you could only get them from the far angles. So I draw to this far target that you can also get from position number, I guess it would be my 3rd position. Then the close one, kind of a trigger freeze there as I was backing up, but I got the alphas. Then I took 2 here. You could get a 3rd one, but I didn't want to waste time. I just took everything up as close as I can. These 2 right here were very close with a no-shoot splitting them, and there was that target I drew to, I could have gotten from there, but I didn't want to waste the time on that spot. I wanted to move through that very quickly, get my reload done, and from here I can shoot 3 paper, as you can see straight ahead pretty much there, and then the 2 poppers that you see go down here in a second, and then I move to this last position, low one right there, and I wanted to get that done as I was coming into it. I wanted to do it a little bit sooner, but I got to be careful not doing something too soon, because then you want to make sure you get the alphas. And then of course the last popper is there at this angle. It was a good, like I said, most people ran it clockwise, and it worked that way. Just for me, I felt it was more conducive to run it the way I ran it, eating up time, backing up into that position, and then going all the way to the far right. I got the stage win on, actually, I think I had the stage win on every stage on this match. And I didn't shoot fast. I wasn't going for splits. It basically became because I had the highest alpha count, and of course I cut down time too, but I was really, like I said, I pretended this was like a level 2 match, or beyond, and made sure I got all my hits. This actually has my only delta. Everything else was Alpha Charlies, and then I had my Delta on that first target I shot on this stage. This last position, you had to shoot these 4 targets from that last box. So breaking it down, I go to the far target and I shoot straight across the top. I get a Delta there, I believe on my first shot, but I thought it was a Charlie at worst. And I shoot across the top here, and then I work down. There's a popper here, and the reason why I shoot across the top, and the same here, I start low, but then I go high and shoot straight across the top. I want to keep my gun in the same level, shooting targets, so I don't have to go up and down like a heartbeat or anything, if possible. Sometimes you just, the way the targets are set up, you don't have a choice, but in this case, you know, you're in the same spot, their targets are pretty close, so I just go right across the top, or the same, keep the same height, and then finish on with a low one on, well, on this first position, and then the second position I start with a low one and then move across the top. It's just the way you got to look at those things for what they are, and it's not going to be the same every time, of course. So you just got to see what you see as you approach, like this, as you approach the shooting position, what these targets are giving you. So there was a lot of options here. Most people shot it kind of like the way I did, but it was a fun one. This is a Classifier 9902, I don't remember. It's an old one, but it was the first time I had shot it, and you could shoot it, you could start on the left or right, you just had to reload in between. I chose to start on the right with my foot on the left side, as you see that it's up there. I drew to the closest paper, shoot the 3 paper, and then reload. And my foot being up over there, it's in the position it needs to be to get my weight over it when I do that reload. And the key to this one, I shot 100% on this one. I had 1 Charlie, but my time was under 5 seconds. The key to this one was, while you're doing your reload, is having that weight on that left side, or I should say, while you're doing your reload, you want to get your body weight over your left leg, over your left knee, so that way when you complete the reload, you're already looking at your target and the gun can come up to it. So you're already in position. You're positioning yourself during that dead time while you're conducting the reload to not have to clear the corner with your gun. You're already around the corner. You're already leaned over there. So you'll see it here. I take these 3 targets just as fast as I can see the sights and make good shots. Then the reload, I get my weight over there. So as soon as that reload is done, I can clearly see that that popper, and the gun comes right to it, and then you see the rest. All right, let's see. This stage. This is another fun one. I took 1 extra target on that right side that I could have taken later, but I decided to take it there just to help with the reload. And then it's pretty much movement as fast as you can into this last position, where there's a swinger, activator, a popper, then there's 2 paper on the right that you can't see in this video, but then I come back to the swinger, and I'll tell you why in a second. Obviously these 2 you have to take from here. Then there's a long one you have to take from this corner, but I chose to take another one that is available later, just for the round. It's just right there. You're gonna, your sights come across it anyways, so I decided to take it from there, spend a little bit extra time, but I thought it saved me for sure in the end. These 4 you have to take from here, obviously, and I took them a little slow, a little conservative, but yeah, that's one thing I'd change about it. I would go a little bit quicker through that. Then I take the target from there, and that's where the other target that I took earlier was available, but then I can skip that, walk forward on that far target that you saw me just take, and then straight to the last position where I take the activator, the popper. There's 2, like I said, 2 you can't see to the right with a no-shoot splitting it, and then I finish on the swinger. I could have timed it possibly better to try to do something in between and get the swinger and then finish on the far right or finish on the left of that, but it just was one way or the other. It was more comfortable to finish on the swinger, even though I had to wait for a little bit. I didn't want to have to worry about the timing. Swingers are important. If I had somewhere else to go after that, I probably would have worked on the timing a little bit more on that swinger and gotten cute with it, but I just decided to not even play with it, not even risk it, and finish on it. And even though I was waiting for it, it was my last target to take. So those are just some inside thoughts of what I think of when I'm shooting a stage. The other big thing about this, because as I said earlier a couple times, I treated this like a bigger match, and that was in my I was patient, visually patient, and disciplined myself to not pull the trigger until the sight was where it needed to be. So while that feels slower in your head, when it comes down to the timer, it's much faster. I think I gained a lot of time by, besides the Polish plate rack, I was 1 for 1 on all other steel. And that saves a lot of time right there. The other thing is the key to treating it like a bigger match. It's less nerves. I'm actually more comfortable at bigger matches, I think. I haven't shot a ton, but the ones I've been at, I'm more comfortable because I know that I put the work in my training, in my practice. And these stages, I get 5 minutes to walk them, and just like you do in bigger matches, you just get your 5 minutes, and then you can walk them a little bit when you're taping. You can't do the whole thing, but you can definitely walk to, let's say one position that you're going to shoot that maybe you're struggling with, and just get a visual on it, and in your head shoot it in the order you were going to shoot it, and then go and finish taping. And then the other big thing is I visualize that I shot these stages probably 20 to 30 times in my head before I ever shot them. Even though I only walked it a few times, I got the array, or the order I was going to shoot it, how I was going to execute it, in each position, how I was going to take the target. And then in my head, I visualized shooting it over and over and over and over again until it was my time to actually shoot it. So that is very important, visualization before of your stage plan of each stage. Once you shoot the stage, forget it, you're already on the next stage. Start visualizing your next stage if you've seen it. But get a good solid stage plan, something that you can execute. Don't get too cute. Make sure that it's comfortable. If it's uncomfortable, most likely chances are you're gonna get out of sync, out of order, or get confused and have to start looking for targets. If you're looking for targets, you didn't visualize enough that stage prior to shooting it. So, and then you're more likely to get out of order and then have to look to the next target and try to remember mid-string what you're trying to do, which never works. So anyways, those are a couple key points. If you have any questions, hopefully this helps you, but if you have any questions, let me know.